Alhamdulillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wa ba'du, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we'll be continuing on with the characteristics, permanent characteristics with opposites. We'll be starting them inshallah in this lesson. We'll be covering al-hams and its opposite al-jahr. And we'll be looking at Shiddah, Tawassut, Rakhawah. These two Sifaat, inshallah. And as Shiddah, Tawassut, Rakhawah is a Sifaat which a lot of the mistakes, I would say, are made by not adhering to these specific characteristics. Therefore, I have done a small exercise at the end just to show you the fruits of learning this Sifaat. So inshallah, please do take notes and watch the video again if you need to. It's going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, but inshallah well worth it, inshallah. Learning the science of Tajweed and coming close to the Qur'an, any time you spend on it, inshallah, it's going to be inshallah rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah make it easy, and may Allah reward us all for this effort and accept it from us. Allahumma ameen. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wa ba'du, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we'll be continuing on with the inshallah we'll be looking at the permanent characteristics with opposites. The first one we'll be looking at the characteristic of al-hams and its opposite al-jahr, and also al-shiddah, al-tawassut, al-rakhawah. This Sifaat. And al-shiddah, al-tawassut, al-rakhawah is probably the Sifaat which needs the most focus from you, because it's where most of the mistakes are made. And inshallah, by knowing this Sifaat, inshallah, and studying it and understanding it in a good way, it can very much improve your learning and your recitation, inshallah, and can distinguish an average reader to a very good reader. So it's this Sifaat which is very important, like the other ones, but something I think which stands out a lot from the other characteristics. So inshallah, we'll be focusing on the fruits of the characteristics of Shiddah, al-Tawassut, al-Rakhawah, and see the advantages of learning this and the fruits of learning this Sifaat, especially in this lesson, inshallah. Bismillah. So we begin with al-hams and al-jahr. Al-hams means whisper. Al-jahr means making apparent. The Tajweed definition: al-hams is the running of breath when pronouncing these letters. And the letters are فَحَثَّهُ شَخْصٌ سَكَتْ. This is the mnemonic for it. There's 10 letters. Fa, ha, tha, ha, sheen, kha, sad, sin, kaf, ta. Now, when I say these letters, you can hear the air coming and flowing out. Okay? And the rest of the letters fall into al-jahr, the category of al-jahr, which means the imprisonment of breath. So when we say these letters, the breath, there is no expelling of breath. Okay, inshallah. The amount of air depends on the makhrij of the letter. Letters kaf and ta have least air escaping compared to the other 8 letters. Now, I can illustrate this to you. If I say all these letters with a sukoon, f, ah, ath, ash, akh, as, ak, at. If you notice ak, at, compared to the f, ath, ash, the air for kaf and ta is very less. It's like a shot of air, whereas the others are like a running of breath. Okay, and this is due to another characteristic that is connected to the kaf and ta, which we'll be looking at in the next slide, inshallah. Because these are strong letters. These are letters of Shiddah. Okay, they are strong, and the sound stops when we say these letters, but due to their closure of the articulation point. Okay, so ak, at, there's a closure, at, ak. But the difference between the other letters of Shiddah and these two is that there is air in these two letters. So after they cut off from the articulation point, there's a expression of air. So ak, at. Okay, even when we say them in words without a sukoon, kitab, tabbat, ta, like this, you can hear a shot of air. Okay, and the same with all of the letters. It's not just when they are sakin, it's fa, ha, anfusa. So the air comes out. Khalidina, like shajara. Okay, these letters, the air is just expelling out, no matter what haraka, whether a sukoon or any haraka. Okay, and the air depends on the makhrij. Okay, these have a very weak reliance on the makhrij, the rest of the letters, the rest of the 8 letters. This table here just illustrates to you in just as a visual aid. You can see the letters. The ones in grey are the letters of Hams, and the letters in yellow are the letters of Al-Jahr. And an exercise you can do just to help you, if you take your hand out, the palm of your hand, and you put it close to your lips and say the letter P, like this, and say the letter B. This P, when you say P, this is the air coming out of the letter, and this you can say is Hams. And the B, you won't feel anything on the palm of your hand, and this is Jahr. Okay, so if you want to practice these letters, make sure that the other letters don't have any air, the letters of Jahr, then you can do this exercise. But by the way, P is not in Arabic, so I'm not making anything up. It's just an exercise to help you, inshallah. Okay, so Al-Hams, continuing on with Al-Hams, looking at Al-Hams, Ghain and Kha. Ghain has no air, and Kha has air. Okay, both exit top of throat. Now I'm doing this as an illustration to you how we can make mistakes. Ghain is not in here. Ghain is not it's a letter of Jahr because there's no air. Kha is a letter of Hams, and it has air. They both exit from the same point, the top of the throat. Okay, so al, okay, you can see the difference. Al, they share the same qualities, exactly the same qualities, and they also share the same makhrij point. The only thing that differentiates them is this characteristic of Hams, Al-Hams. Kha has air, Ghain doesn't. Now if I exclude, I rip this quality away from Kha or Ghain, then I can make the Ghain sound like a Kha and the Kha sound like a Ghain. For example, I hear many times غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ. This is Ghain, right? There is no air. Magh. Okay, and also Kha, it has air, so not ka, like a K. This has a lot of air. Kha, like this. We have to express it with a lot of air. Kha, Khalidina. Okay, but we have to make sure غير, no خير, no غير, no air. Okay, غير المغ. And they also have another characteristic of running of sound also. So with Kha there's running of sound, and air, Ghain, is just a running of sound. Okay, so this is something we have to inshallah consider. Dhal and Dha, practice saying with no air expelled. These are letters of Jahr, and the reason is because them two, Dhal and Dha, have the quality of running of sound. Okay, and they come from the tip of the tongue coming out slightly. If you remember from the makhrij slides, Dhal and Dha and Tha, these 3 letters, they come from the tip of the tongue coming out slightly. So tip of the tongue touching the 2 top, the incisors, the 2 top in the front teeth. Okay, so the tongue slightly comes out when we say them. So this Dhal is not Z, it's Z, like this. Dhal, dhalika. And this is Azim, but there's no air. This is these letters of Jahr. But because they are letters where the sound has to run, the sound fully runs, okay, we have to make sure that no air runs with it. So when we say ذَلِكَ الَّذِينَ. It's not الَّذِينَ, ذِينَ like with air. Okay? Or عظيم, عظيم, not عظيم or عظيم. There's no air. Okay? So we have to make sure we say them with no air. And it's tricky because we have to extend the sound but without the air coming out. So inshallah this will need a bit of practice. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. So this one here is the special Sifaat. It's golden, one teacher called it a golden rule, a golden Sifaat, because it's these characteristics that if we can manage to really focus on and to improve, it should really make a difference in our recitation and apply and comply by these characteristics, inshallah. So the first one is strength, Shiddah, strong letters. Its opposite, Rakhawah, softness, and these are loose letters, loose or soft letters. Or the reason why it says loose letters is because of its the running of the sound of the letter. And the ones in the middle are the moderate letters, Tawassut. Okay, so this is the only Sifaat, the only category which has three. There's three options that the letters fall into. The first one, Shiddah, the strong letters. This is the imprisonment of the running of the sound. Now, bear in mind, this is the running of sound. Hams and Jahr, the one we looked at before, was the imprisonment of the running of the breath. Okay, this we are talking about the sound. Okay, due to the closing off of the articulation point. So because the articulation point of these letters is such that the running of the sound is imprisoned. Okay, because the articulation point is quite definite and there is a specific articulation point, therefore the vocal cords close and there's a closure. Okay, a complete closure of the articulation point. Therefore, there's an imprisonment of the sound. The sound can't go further. Okay, so these are the qualities of these letters only. Hamza, the a, like this. Jim, aj, ad, dal, ad. Qaf, aq, ta, at, ba, ab, kaf, and ta, ak, at. And remember we said these are the only letters which have the running of air also. The rest of them don't have any air coming. Kaf and ta have a shot of air. Ak, at, like this. But the sound closes off, is imprisoned. Okay. We have the moderate letters which are in between. So loose letters, Rakhawah means the running of sound. So there's no blockage. These letters, the makhrij is not so strong and the reliance on the makhraj is weak. Therefore the rest of the letters like and these letters, the sound just flows. Okay, f, okay, the sound flows. So the rest of them fall into there. The ones that are in the middle, the moderate, the tawassut letters, there are 5 of them. Al, an, am, al. These letters have a partial running of the sound and a partial blockage. So they're not fully imprisoned and they don't fully run. And this is due to, for 4 of them, this is due to some other characteristics that are attached to these letters. Okay? Because of those characteristics that are attached to 4 of these letters, there is partial running and partial blockage of the running of the sound of the letters. Okay? So what does it say here? Partial running of the sound through the articulation point of the letter due to incomplete closing of the articulation point. Okay. So for example, Noon and Mim. These two letters have 2 components attached to them when you emit these letters. Okay. When you say the Noon and Mim from the makhraj, they, without the ghunna characteristic, okay, without the nasal sound, they are letters of Shiddah. For example, when you say an, the letter sound is cut off from its makhraj. Okay, the sound is imprisoned, and the letter is cut. So like this. But as soon as you add the ghunna, the it takes time for the ghunna to come in. A ghunna is Rakhawah. Okay, there's a running of this sound. So when you attach this to the noon, it becomes a moderate letter, a letter of tawassut, because the letter isn't it's totally imprisoned. There's not a total cut off of the sound, and there's not a complete running either. It's in between. Anna, inna. So and an'amta, like this. So there's some sound blockage, but there's some sound running also. Partial running, partial blockage, and that's why that's in the middle category. And also the same with lam and ra. The way the tongue, inshallah, we'll be looking at this quality which is specific to the lam and ra in the characteristics which don't have opposites, inshallah, in the next slides. These two letters share a very close makhraj, and they, because of the way the tongue is shaped, for one of them the sound is expelled out from the sides, pushed out from the side of the tongue, and for one the sound is blocked within, like a tongue. For the ra, for example, the tongue is concaved and the sound is sort of trapped in. Okay, therefore, to complete the sound of these letters, al, you can hear the sound doesn't just cut off like in Hamza, for example. There's a complete cut, but with al, you can hear the sound partially run, and this is due to its makhraj, due to how the tongue is shaped and the other quality that's attached to it. Okay, so that was them too. And ayn has a natural, because of the way the makhraj is of ayn, there's a natural flow. To say this letter, you have to run it and go deep into the throat. So therefore, it's a letter which is a letter of tawassut. Okay, alhamdulillah. And all of the rest of the letters fall into Rakhawah. So here in this box you can see the ones in yellow are letters of Shiddah. The letters that are in white are the letters in Tawassut, and the majority fall into the Rakhawah category. So Bismillah. Like I said, only letters with air expelled are Kaf and Ta. They are letters of Hams. Okay, the rest of them are letters of Jahr. And if you remember, Hams and Jahr, Hams is the flowing of air after you say this letter, and Jahr is the entrapment or imprisonment of the air, of the breath when you expel it, when you say the letters. Okay, the rest of these letters here, like I said, are letters of Jahr, which means they don't, there's no air. But Kaf and Ta is a letter of Hams, which means there's air expelled. And also interestingly, the ones who know a bit of Tajweed, the letters of Qalqala, Qutb Jad, are included in this category, this Sifaat. They have the Sifaat, the characteristic of Shiddah. Okay, Ajj. I know this has a little bounce at the end because that's the quality of Qalqala. Ajj. But when it cuts off, Ajj. Okay, Alam naj'alil, Naj. Where it cuts off, that's where the Shiddah, the imprisonment of the running of the sound is. This natural Ajj or Ad or Aqq. This is a natural way to release the tongue or the throat or whatever part of the organ of speech it is, to release itself from its makhraj. Okay, but there is an imprisonment of the sound when you say these letters of Qalqala. Okay, Bismillah. So when we say these letters, so here we have Ta, letter of Shiddah, just as an example. Tabbat yada, yaj'alun. Here, Shiddah. Yaj'alun, yu'minun. Now you see here, I want you to notice something when I say these, inshallah, and I'll come back to this, inshallah. Rakhawah, you notice the sound, this will just flow. And I'm not talking about the air, I'm talking about the sound. this time, because Rakhawah, we are referring to the sound, running of the sound. Ar-Rahman, ha. Ar-Rahman. This is also a letter of hams. Yes, hams. The air is also running. Ar-Rahman. Ghain, not a letter of hams. There's no air, but the sound will run. Al-Maghdubi. Al-Maghdubi. Magh. Sin, a letter of Rakhawah, and also a letter of hams, where the air will also flow. Al-Mustaqim. Al-Mustaqim. Now you notice when we say these letters with a sukoon, the Rakhawah letters, the sound will flow. Okay? As. Okay? Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman. Okay? Ahmad. The sound just flows. Alhamdu. Alhamdu. Now this meme. Alhamdu. Hamdu. Hamd. Alhamdu. Now you hear the meme. It's not a total cut off. And it doesn't flow like Rakhawah either. It's just in the middle. And this is the reason why these letters, sometimes sisters make mistake. For example, in this lam. Lam is a letter of Tawassut, where the sound will run. What happens is sisters make this letter into a letter of Shiddah by giving it less time and just cutting the sound off and not letting the sound run. For example, Rabbil Alameen. I've heard Rabbil. Rabbil. It's not Rabbil. Rabbil Alameen. Rabbil. Give it time. Rabbil Alameen. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So 28 letters can be voweled except for alif. Now we're looking at the fruits of the characteristics of Shiddah, Tawassut, Rakhawah. We'll be looking at examples inshallah now to show you, illustrate to you this Sifaat. So 28 letters can be voweled except for alif, because alif, if you remember, is a mad letter. Whenever it appears in the Mus'haf, it's in the Qur'an, it's only there to add an extension to stretch the letter before it. Okay, so therefore it remains sakin. The vowels are equal in timing between all letters, regardless of it being a letter of Shiddah, Tawassut, or Rakhawah. So every letter in the Arabic language, the vowels are equal in timing. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a letter of Shiddah, a letter of Tawassut, or a letter of Rakhawah. If a letter has a vowel on it, it has the same timing. Okay, if read properly, no vowel letter is longer in timing than the other. So the harakas we have, for example, here we have a fatha and we have a kasra and a dhamma in a letter. The timing will be exactly the same for a vowel. Sharibu. Okay, there's no extension, no letters longer than the other. Sharibu. Okay, Sheen is a letter of Rakhawah, Ra is a letter of Tawassut, Ba is a letter of Shiddah. Shariba. Completely same timing for all of them. However, when the letters are sakin and have no vowel on it, okay, there is a difference of timing depending on their characteristic. So as soon as these letters have a sukoon, now the timing for the sakin letters will depend on what group of letters the letters fall in. Okay, what characteristic they are under, what they fall in. So the shortest timing for sakina letters is for the letters of Shiddah. The sakin tawassut letters have a longer timing than those of Shiddah, so they're slightly longer than a Shiddah when they are sakin, these letters. The sakin letters of the Rakhawah group have a longer timing than those of the tawassut group of letters, and Rakhawah group has the longest timing out of all three. So Shiddah has the least, then it's tawassut, and then it's Rakhawah group of letters. Okay, now I'll show you by example, if you didn't understand this. What this means is, as soon as the same letters, when they had a haraka in the previous page, are read shariba, shariba, all had the same timing. As soon as they have put a sukoon on them, the timing will change. Shiddah has the least time it will take for me to say this. So ab, cut off. The sound is cut off. Al for ra, al. Now you see it's a letter of tawassut which means that the sound is partially running and partially blocked. L, L. Sheen, Ash. It's the letter of Rakhawah. Immediately, there's a lot more time. Ash, and not too much. There shouldn't be too much exaggeration. So not ash. When we say وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ, for example, we can't exaggerate either. It's just a specific timing that is slightly longer than that of the rest of the group of letters. So Rakhawah has the longest timing. Tawassut has the middle, the average timing, and Shiddah has the shortest timing when they are sakin. And it's this timing that we have to focus on when we are reciting the Qur'an, because if we rip away this characteristic, we take this one away, it really can make the recitation sound very uneven, and it's not giving the letters its due right. So something really important to notice here, and this is for the sisters who can hear for this and don't want to confuse matters, but it's just common sense, okay? The timing, this sakina timing, affects the gap between one letter to the next in a word. Shiddah letters have the longest gap compared to Rakhawah letters. Now we said that sakin Shiddah letters have the shortest timing. For example, وَتَأْكُلْ, تَأْكُلْ, the word تَأْكُلْ. Now the gap between ta, the hamza, and the kaf in this word تأكل, you can hear a slight gap, okay? A gap which is, if you listen to it carefully, you can hear it. تأكل, تأكل, بئس, okay? بئس, same thing between the hamza and the sin. بئس, okay? Because hamza is a letter of shiddah and the sound cuts off. As compared to a word with the letter of Rakhawah, for example, the sad, wasbir, wasbir. Now you notice when I say wasbir, the ba comes straight after the sin, because the sad, because sad is a letter of Rakhawah and the timing is the longest in comparison to all the rest of the three and all the rest, okay? So wasbir, it's almost immediate. There's a very, very small gap between the sad and the ba, and this is because obviously when a letter when it's sakin, it's taken more time, it's obviously going to have a knock-on effect on the letters that are coming after, okay? So this is something that inshallah if we focus on and we can really concentrate and give each letter its timing, especially when it's sakin, it can really make a difference in your recitation. And a lot of the sisters make the mistakes in this category, okay? Bismillah. So continuing on to the fruits of the characteristics of Shiddah, Tawassut, Rakhawah. Note, all sakina letters will have equal timing to each other in their respective groups. So all these letters are letters of Shiddah, and I forgot to point out the mnemonic for this. Ajid, Qattin, Bakat. Okay, this is the mnemonic for these letters. All of these letters of Shiddah have equal timing to each other when sakin. So they have the shortest timing, that's correct, which is one vowel count. So a, aj, ad, aq, alp, ab, ak, at. Okay, they have the shortest timing compared to these two, but in relation to each other, they will have exactly the same timing. Okay, so hamza will not be longer than jim, and dal won't be longer than qaf, and in this way, and so forth. Same thing for the letters of Tawassut, Lin Umr. This is the mnemonic for this, and it's just to make it easy for you to remember. All these letters of Tawassut have equal timing to each other when sakin. Again, same thing, to each other they have the same timing. So al, an, ar, al, they have the same timing to each other. Shorter than Shiddah letters, sorry, longer than Shiddah letters, but shorter than the letters of Rakhawah. Okay, that's what I said here. And Rakhawah has the longest timing in comparison to the other two groups. Ay, ath, adh, az, but they have equal timing to each other. Ay won't be longer than ah, same timing. And remember not to exaggerate or not to make it too short, because then otherwise it will obviously not sound correct. Bismillah. So here, inshallah, by example, I will show you what we've just learned and demonstrate to you the letters of Rakhawah and the timing when they are sakin, and also the gap between them and the next letters. Also, the same with the letters of Tawassut, letters of Shiddah, and letters of Hams and Jahr. Everything, inshallah, what we just learned. If you see by example, it'd be a lot more clearer, inshallah, to you. So, Bismillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ba has a kasra here. And like we said, all vowel letters have the same timing of one vowel count. So B, okay, B would be the same as this me, as is he, ni. They will all have the same timings. Okay, B. Seen here is a letter of Rakhawah as well as the letter of Hams. So the air and the sound flows. There's no blockage. Okay, and also we all know Rakhawah has the longest timing of sakin letters compared to the other two groups, Tawassut and Shiddah. So we read like this, Bismi. And we know when we say bis, we're giving it good timing, Rakhawah. But here we have a meme. The gap between the seen and the meme will be less. Okay? So Bismi. It's almost immediate. There's a very little gap and you can't hear any, there's no gap. Literally no gap. Bismi. Bismi. Because seen, the time it takes for us to say the letter with a sukoon, it cuts off, it takes its time. So the letter that comes after, it leaves it very little gap. Okay, so bismi. And meme here, a vowel. So we're going to, that's one vowel count, the same as this one, bismi. Lam here, the first one, it is a shadda, okay? In the word Allah, this lam has a shadda. The first one has a sukoon. Okay, we know that Shiddah means there's two of these lams. There are two letters. Shiddah means there's two of those letters. The first one has a sukoon. Okay, lam with a sukoon, and lam we know falls into the group of Tawassut. Okay, the middle, the moderate one, in between. So the timing when it's sakin is not as long as Rakhawah, is not as short as Shiddah, but it's in between. Bismil. Okay, Bismil. This is the first sukoon, and then we say the second one with the fatha. Bismillah. Bismillah. Okay, Bismillah. And this lam, the sukoon here, will be shorter than the seen, because this one, the Rakhawah timing is longer, right? We know this. It's the longest timing. So Bismillah. And now we have the ha with the kasra. Again, same timing as the rest of these ones, the rest as ba and mim. So bi, mi, he. Bismillahi. Ra here, letter of Tawassut. The first one has a shadda, so the first ra gets the timing of Tawassut, which is in between, less than Rakhawah. And we say like this, Bismillahir Rah. Here, like this, here, and then the ra has a fatha. Here, wah, and then it gets a normal one vowel count. Okay, the next letter is a ha with a sukoon, a letter of Rakhawah, the longest timing for sukoon, where the sound just flows, and also it's a letter of Hams. So the time it's going to take is going to be, it's going to take a little bit of a time, and then letter after is a meme, and the gap between ha and meme will be very less. Okay, Bismillahir Rahman. Bismillahir Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman. Okay, meme here has this long alif here, so we have to stretch the meme a little bit. 2 counts. And the next letter is a noon with a kasra, ni, but we have to join it on with the ra. Ra here again, shadda, first one with the sukoon, letter of Tawassut, and it gets a middle timing, less timing then of Rakhawah. These ones were the Rakhawah letters, sin and ha. Ra and lam were the letters of Tawassut, and again here ra with letter of Tawassut. We say it with middle timing, so Ar-Rahmanir-Ra, nir-Ra, nir-Ra. So we nir. We have to make sure we say the ra. Okay, with a little bit of giving it a bit of time, less than Rakhawah, but a little bit more than Shiddah, Shiddah letter. Again, Ra has a fatha. Bismillahir Rahman Nirwa. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahim. Okay, and this is a yamad and a meme, and we have to make sure meme, obviously we're going to stop here, so we put a sukoon, a temporary stop here, but we have to make sure this letter of tawassut, so we have to make sure we say the meme clearly. And this is a mistake sometimes sisters make. They don't give it time, they just Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and it's gone, meme's gone. So we have to make sure we say the meme clearly. It's a letter of tawassut, let the sound run a little bit, okay, a little bit. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay, a little bit of time. We'll just look at a few words here. Al, lam here, again letter of tawassut with the sukoon. Al. If I say al, I'm making it a letter of shiddah. I need to give it time. Al, alham, alham, and you notice the ha comes in straight with a very less gap. Alhamdu, alhamdu. And the meme here again with a sukoon, letter of tawassut, and the sound and the gap here between meme and dal will be less, but the gap between the sin, which was letter of Rakhawah, and the next letter is the least. Okay, the gap here will be the least. So bismi, this is almost immediately, because this timing here is the most. This one is in the middle, so there will be less of a gap, but not so much like of a lack of in letter of shiddah, for example. Okay, so alhamdu, alhamdu. So you say ham, give its time, and then do. Alhamdu, alhamdu. So lam and meme will get the same timing because they are both letter of tawassut group. And again, lillahi, lillahi. So give lil time, lillahi, letter of tawassut here. Okay, lam sakin here, lillahi. And then again, rabbil alameen, not rabbil alameen, rabbil alameen, al alameen. And let's hear the noon at the end. Okay, and so on, inshallah. So I hope, inshallah, it's made it a bit more clearer, these two sifat, and inshallah next time we will meet and we will be continuing on with the last two, which are last two permanent characteristics with opposites, al-isti'la and al-istifal, its opposite, and al-ithbaq and its opposite, al-infitah. So inshallah we'll meet next time. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.